It's a magic of hitting a button, man. And next thing you know, you're in people's living rooms, cars, all over, man. You'd be surprised about the people who have been watching this show. I got a couple of interesting comments from bricklayers. Yeah. Yeah. Not going to be another book, Bobby. There's going to be a retirement somewhere down the road, not a book.
Dude, you gotta do a book about the whole radio.
Oh, I wanted to compliment you on something. I went and cleaned out my garage. I can't believe all the content that you have for me over the decades.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had a lot. I had crates.
Yeah.
The problem is I need mini disc players. How am I going to listen to this?
You gotta find some way to transfer it.
Well,
You know what? There's a company out there, I think it's called Legacy Box.
right.
They transfer anything into digital.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like videotape, mini disc, DAT
Yeah,
tape,
it's a nice project I'm going to do somewhere down the road.
DAT tapes too. But yeah, Legacy Box, send them the whole thing. They'll put it all on CD, MP3, whatever.
Yeah.
You need.
All right, we're going to talk how to gamble on March Madness today. I got two gambling insiders coming on, including the great Bill Krakenberger, coming up in a few minutes. No Sherman today. He's out of the office.
Okay. Is there one?
Yeah. Anybody got a Raiders topic or a football topic they want to dive into today? Seems like most of the insiders have checked out. Nothing new on Ian Rappaport. It's quiet, man. This is I know what I want to get into. Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft has Ashton Genty going to the Raiders. Nope. I don't see Travis Hunter falling to 6. I don't know how you see that. I don't see him falling to 6. Cleveland, New England, they're not going to let him drop. Good afternoon, Loco Raider Joe. By this time next week, I'll be on a Raider cruise coming out of Cabo, heading to Mazatlan. Fabian, we'll be cruising in a week. I finished my online check-in this morning for my cruise.
All right, here we go.
Gotta get the voice going, man. Voice doesn't sound good today.
For over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio. Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. And now, here's JT.
All right, out of the gate, welcome to March Madness. We are here for the Madness of March college basketball's tournament, which is massive for Las Vegas, where the show is based out of. Hope everybody's doing good today. Hope you're getting in your bracket. We have a contest here. We got two, one at lvsportsnetwork.com, which is the one they're pushing in the building, which is good. It's always good to push things in the building, and that's a good one if you want to get into that. And also all the bricklayers, as we call them, who are in my chat as we open up the show. I got one up there too. Just click on the link and go to JT the Brick YT. That is on YouTube, and you can join our chat. We're going to have good prizes there. So Bill Krakenberger is going to join us in about 15 minutes. He's America's favorite sports gambler on how to bet March Madness. And it's an important topic. It's really important, actually, because a lot of people, I've got invited in the last 2 or 3 days to 2 or 3 of our partners' March Madness parties. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm live at the Strat, the William Hill Sportsbook, from noon to 2. They open up their hotel property, resort property, and they go big on March Madness. So they have me every year. I've been doing it for a long time, coming in there to kick it off, as they have sign-ups and prizes to give away. So if you're looking to do something tomorrow for lunch, come and see me at the Strat. I'll be there from noon to 2, obviously earlier than that, later than that. We have that going on. And then Thursday, we have several of our partners here that are throwing big parties. Virgin has one with Cliff Atkinson. They have no juice bets. That's going to be a big deal if you want to go to Virgin. We got our friends at Resorts World. that have 4 or 5 big parties coming up. I mean, big parties. Our friends at M Resort Spa and Casino, they have a big event going on there. So every casino property that we're dealing with, Boyd Gaming, they do a lot. So this is big. And you got to embrace it if you're here. There's 2 things to it that I recommend if you're into March Madness or not. If you're not into it, get out of Vegas. This is a good weekend to leave. I've said that, leave. And Bobby's nodding his head. We agree. This is a great weekend to leave Vegas if you're not into March Madness. Because wherever you go, it's going to be complete insanity with the Fraternal Order of the Men in Khaki Pants as they take over all these hotels. If you're going to be here, you got to embrace it. You got to fight through it. You got to be up early. You got to get in your seat. And you got to be able to consume all this college basketball. And you got to pace yourself. A lot of amateurs can't pace themselves in Vegas. College kids who are coming out of college. You can be the biggest partier and drinker over at Oklahoma or at LSU. You're a big partier at UCLA. You come to Vegas, it'll destroy you. By Friday morning, you'll be out. So pace yourself if you're coming to Vegas for this, and we'll get that going coming up here. But Bill will join us in about 10 minutes now to talk about some of the casinos. What's happening, you're seeing ESPN got like 11 million brackets in already. All this is a digital scam to try to get your name on a computer list. That's all this is. We admit it. I admit to it. We get you to sign up. We want you to subscribe to YouTube and all that. Everybody now in sports wants to capture your information. They either want to capture your name, your phone number, your address, and most importantly, your checking account. We have sports gambling now. In order to do this, you got to put in money. You have to put money in, and most people do that with a checking account. And they got it. And once these FanDuel, all these companies get your information, they will never, ever, 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 ever let you breathe again. They just want your information, and they are going to pound you every day to bet with them. And that's what March Madness is so big. We can remember 10 years ago when Tony Romo couldn't have a fantasy football contest out here. And now you have all these NFL teams tied in with gambling. Well, that's changed here in 10 years. We still don't have legalized gambling in California. California is upside down with their taxes and all the problems they have. And they don't even throw that up there. And billions of dollars are coming into New York and New Jersey on legalized gambling. But it's the national networks that are trying to get your money, and a big fishing retreat for these gambling companies. The big net that they throw out, more so than the Super Bowl, is March Madness. This is where they want you, and they want to hook you. And if you want to get hooked, you can get hooked. You can get some good deals. Bill will talk about that coming up here. If not, be careful. Be careful, because a lot of people here get in trouble during March Madness. I know people that have been destroyed and left Vegas because of March Madness. The whole week got ahead of them financially, and they got buried. So bet with your wallet, not with your head. All right, here's what I want to talk about with the Raiders. I don't have a lot of Raiders today. No one does. If they do, they're kind of just telling you something they don't know. It's quiet. It's really quiet. The Raiders are going to have visits with some players that are going to come in. They're going to have visits with players and take a look at them overall. You know what the Raiders did in free agency. And I was reading Vinny Bonsignore, a couple other insiders who were out there, that if you look at locking down Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz and getting a quarterback, I don't know how anybody can complain. You all have been complaining about the quarterback to me. You've been complaining about the quarterback for years. Going back to Derek Carr, you've been complaining and you've been angry about the quarterback. So they went out and got you Geno Smith, who's pretty good. Is he a top 10 quarterback? No, but he could be in the right system. Is he a top 15? Yeah. And he's a guy that can win games. Technically, as I look back at all of his games, the last couple of years in Seattle, the good ones, he puts you in a position to win, and he's a comeback quarterback, which is okay. Or is there a game sprinkled in? 1 out of every 4 or 5, will he'll throw a pick? Yes. That could cost you the game, absolutely. And they got to cut down on that with Chip Kelly. But you got Geno, and now you got to figure out what you want after Geno. And that's really the focus of our show for the next 2 months. You got Geno, you got Max, you got Brock Bowers. Those are 3 of the best players in football, and not Geno, but Geno's a good leader and a good player. But Max is one of the best, and Brock is one of the best. So yesterday, I was there and I was looking online for some content during my show, and I saw someone took a shot at us. So my number one legacy play in the history of my career will be that I protected the gates of the Raider Nation more so than anyone. That is fact, not fiction. You can call me a homer. You can say I'm on the payroll. I am. That's part of my job, is to not let the Raiders get blindsided and cracked by a bunch of losers who are making fun of them. So here's the latest, what I just saw yesterday, as people are coming after the Raiders. And, people can take shots here and there when they want to take shots. So someone at Sporting News put up a link to a story. Tyler Lockett predicted to end free agency stint by signing with lowly AFC team. And the story was by Bryce Lazenby, Lazenby. I've never heard of him. But Bryce might have not written the title. Usually the editor does that to get clicks. And he got me to click, and he got me to talk about it in my monologue, brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue, 5 to 7, midnight to 2. PTs, right at the Strat with me tomorrow from noon to 2 as I'm live from the Strat. So I didn't even read the article, but I clicked on because he called the Raiders a lowly AFC team. So I put that out, and everybody kind of attacked me, which they like to do. Want to hear some of the responses, Bobby?
Sure.
Yeah, JT, you are lowly. You lost 10 in a row last year. Struggling to make a convincing argument about us now being lowly, though. So it's just going down the list, taking shots. Jerwin says, yeah, we were bad, but aren't you supposed to be somewhat professional? I hate to say it, but he isn't wrong. Hoping PC can turn it around so people like this can eat their words. So Joe Souza with an Army Ranger logo says, yep, we earned that title. We are lousy. And it goes on and on and on. People call them the Raiders lousy. Team since 1960 that Al Davis turned into greatness. A team with 3 Super Bowl Lombardi trophies, 5 Super Bowl appearances, and some of the greatest players to ever play the game enshrined in Canton, Ohio. And the Raiders played in some of the most memorable games ever in the history of the league. Some they lost, some they won. They lost the Tuck Rule, the Immaculate Reception. They won the Heidi game. They won Ghost to the Post. You don't hear other teams having games like that. So that's where we're at. Kicked to the curb. Kicked and down and doubted. Well, who are you going to count on to pick you up? If I'm not doing it, who's doing it? What do you want to do? Say it's going to be a lowly year? Or do you want to sit here in March and be optimistic and look at the draft and maybe get Aston Genty? Or maybe decide that you're going to get a running game that could take you from last in the league to top 10. That's all I'm here to do. Try to find some positivity in this. And then if it doesn't get positive, I'm sitting here on the front line. I'm in the first bunker, right in the first bunker. I stand in the first bunker as the wave of the other armies coming after us. So don't worry about me. I'm going to be here either way. But the point is, how do you want to handle this? Do you think the Raiders are going to improve and have a really good year? Or are you going to be part of the problem and be negative and think that it's not going to work? I choose to be positive every time this year because I'm normally pretty positive this time of year. I normally think even when the team doesn't play well, they're going to be vastly improved because they have a draft and free agency. So they just had free agency. It wasn't great. They got a bunch of role players, one-year guys on defense who are going to compete for linebacker, cornerback, and safety. We're not talking about bringing in Hall of Famers here, but guys that could play well. And then they secured the defensive line, which is the most important aspect of this team, I believe. It could be the offensive line, and I think they're going to improve the offensive line still in free agency and in the draft. But the key was Geno Smith and Max Crosby. Geno was traded here. His deal is not, the contract extension. Some people are worried about that. I am not. I know what the market is for Geno, and I'm good paying him. It's not my money. They'll pay him. And Max got a lot of money, and as soon as Max got paid, people surpassed him. Myles Garrett got more than him, and other players are good. Micah Parsons might get more than Max, and Max is fine with that. So that's where we seem to be today. I'm trying to look for something positive. So Daniel Jeremiah arguably has the number one mock draft out there. I think his is the best. When you look at who's got the best mock drafts, I use our lads. There's a handful of ones that I like a lot. But Daniel Jeremiah is pretty much near the top of the list. And in his mock 3, which is his latest mock draft, he has the Raiders taking Ashton Genty at number 6. I think that we're seeing a lot more of that now. We're seeing some people have Shedeur dropping, but if you look at around the NFL and you go to move the sticks and you take a look at his mock draft, I agree with it. I think he's got him pretty much all right. Daniel Jeremiah, number 1, has Tennessee taking Cam Ward. At number 2, he has Cleveland taking Abdul Carter. Now, that's interesting because that's where Shedeur could be taken at number 2. The last I looked, Cleveland needed a quarterback. But if you had Myles Garrett on one side and Abdul Carter on the other, wow. So that makes them really unique. At number 3, they have the Giants taking Shedeur, which I think is the right move for the Giants. Because if the Giants pass on Shedeur Sanders and he ends up being elite, you might as well just fold the Giants, a team that's won 8 NFL championships, 4 Super Bowls. They'll be irrelevant for 10 more years. Now, if they get Shedeur Sanders, at least they'll have a star. And people will sit in that mess of a traffic jam going over the bridge to New Jersey to watch a star. And he'll play pretty early. At number 4, New England gets Travis Hunter. New England got really good, dude. They got Mike Vrabel as their coach. They got Drake May as their quarterback. And they got really good players. Robert Spillane came over to play linebacker. They're pretty good. And if they get Travis Hunter at 4, they're much better than you think. At number 5, they have Jacksonville taking Jalen Walker, who's exactly what the Raiders need. The Raiders need a sideline-to-sideline linebacker who can tackle and get 15 tackles a game. But then at number 6, Daniel Jeremiah has the Las Vegas Raiders selecting Ashton Genty, running back out of Boise State. And he says the Raiders can take some pressure off of Geno by adding Genty, who was one of the top 3 players in the entire draft. So, I mean, if you take Genty, you got to run the ball aggressively. You have to. And that takes the heat off of Geno. And it sets up Brock even more because you have a runner. And that even opens up more for Brock Bowers, who's not a blocking tight end. He can play, but he'll be open in space. As always, Bill Krackenberger, America's sports gambler, joins us in front of a big sports gambling event. Crack, good to talk to you. Where do you rank March Madness compared to the Super Bowl, the college football playoffs? Where is this in your entire calendar for the year?
Well, me personally, I rank it definitely the Super Bowl and this event on the same level. However, this year the town doesn't seem to do that because it looks like rooms are ridiculous right now. Can't even get a room at some places compared to Super Bowl, where literally Super Bowl night, Sunday night, $49 rooms at the Westgate, which is the Superbook, shocked all of us here in Nevada. And this March Madness, though, really, really also shocked me. I just figured it was going to be dead flat like it was the Super Bowl, but I'm told from many different operators, people I know, not the case. Super Bowl, March Madness is very busy here. And I'm surprised, JT, because to be honest with you, they're kind of out of control with prices and stuff. They're out of control with their asking for prices for different things. And it's so different than when I first used to come to town. And when I used to come to town, literally I would throw a towel on at the chair at the pool, and then I would throw something on the seat inside to hold my seat to watch the games for March Madness. This is like 20 years ago, even up to like 12 years ago. You can't do that anymore because the seats at the sports book are out of control. Prices out of control. Anywhere from $50 for a basic seat to $2,500 for just to watch the games for the day. I know a place charging $5,000. I'm not going to throw them on the bus for a premium couch for the entire day. That comes with the liquors and stuff you can drink for the day. But, who's drinking $5,000 in liquor? So, it's out of control. It's so different than what it used to be. But yet, if there's a demand for it, the prices are never going to drop down. So that's what we're up against this year. But me personally, I bet a lot more than I thought I was going to bet this March Madness. So I'm going to put that right up there with the Super Bowl, which I had even though I needed Kansas City in the Super Bowl, I did so well on props. Even that first night at Westgate, it was 8-1. Those props I just killed this year anticipated one of my best Super Bowl years. So I'm hoping March Madness is literally 20% of that, and I'll be really happy.
Bill Krackomberger is our guest. So one more thing on the loyalty of the March Madness customer. Being out here as long as I've been, I know more people book March Madness out here, young guys especially, than the Super Bowl, because you don't know who's going to be in the Super Bowl until the week before or 2 weeks before. You know March Madness is on the calendar every year, and all these resort corridor properties have a base. They have a list of all their March Madness customers. It'd be a shame if these people got gouged, because these are the most loyal people that come out here every year, and they go to the steakhouses and they stay in the casino and they go to the pool party and they go to the private event. I'm hosting one of them coming up on Wednesday. They come and they get a VIP invitation to a private event here. Those people, Bill, cannot be screwed with in Vegas going forward. They're the base of what keeps this town humming.
The problem is, JT, you have outside corporations that are booking the sports in a lot of the casinos, and if that's the case, it's two different. Even a place like Caesars, they treat it like two different entities. There's no brand loyalty to the casino itself. So when you're going into the sports book, it's a total different company that's booking the games. And they're literally paying a revenue share to the corporation that owns the casino. Therefore, they really don't honor casino patrons unless they actually have to pay a fee to that company that's booking the sports. I'll use the ones like DraftKings and FanDuel all over the country. They're in probably like 25 different markets, and they're in casinos that obviously they don't own the casinos, but yet they're having these kind of parties and stuff, and the outside companies, they're not going to give free seats, even if there is brand loyalty to that property, and that's a shame. It's going on in Vegas here too now, maybe not to the point of the outside companies around the country, but it really is a shame what happened. You know, Joe Public used to come to Vegas, have fun with their buddies once a year, get away from their wives for a week, and can't wait to get to Vegas. And here now, they can't afford to do that anymore, because even the basic seat at a sports book where it was free 10 years ago is now $100. It's a shame.
Bill Krackomberger is our guest. So for people that come in, you try to help people make money. The way I looked at it, the prop bets have changed everything. You can bet a prop bet. You can bet parlays. We know most people lose betting parlays, but I noticed when my friends come out here over the decades that they have no control of their bankroll. None. When they bet college basketball, they want to have action on every game, because everybody has action on every game. So when you got that many games overlapping each other, and I don't care if you're spending $20 or $50 a game, you feel like if you miss the game that everybody in the sports book hit on, it's like depressing. It's like you're going down instead of up with the casino. What do you recommend for people to bet smartly during March Madness with such a buffet of options to bet on?
As usual, JT the Brick sets me up perfectly because he knows the pulse of his business. And that's exactly what 2 days ago I talked about on a live show. I had a caller call in. He was very honest. He's from back east. He said, I got to have action on every game. I can't just sit there and have a game on in front of me in the sports book. I got to have action on it. You know what I recommend? I said, listen, what's your average bet? He goes, I don't know, like $25, $50. I said, listen, put a 5-team. I don't mind you doing this. Put a $5 5-team parlay in, or 14 parlay, which is a sucker bet. Total sucker bet. I'm against parlays. It's how the sports books make all their money. I said, listen, if you got to have action, at least you'll have $1.25 basically, or a grocery dollar on a game, just to have some action to root for your parlay or something. I said, but no way should you be betting, $50 on every game if you only have $500. You're betting 10% of your money. You're supposed to bet like 1% to 2% of your bankroll. But I have those same friends too. I have New Yorkers, South Philly, all my buddies I grew up with. Even though I'm a professional gambler and I do it exactly properly and built a nice bankroll doing that, following those things, it's amazing what my friends do. They'll come to town with $2,000. Their first bet's $500, and if they lose that, they go into the credit cards and the Mac machines, or maybe even, that's right, Western Union. That's right, because they're sick. They can't help themselves. Doesn't matter. Nothing's going to change them. Those type of people. They're going to have action on every single game. I could talk till I'm blue in the face. They're not going to listen to me. But I just know how I made my money, and what I've done in my life. And by the way, I started out as a losing gambler, a stone cold sucker. Absolutely was a loser. It took someone to shake me and show me the right path in life. That's what it took me. So I'm still trying to shake these guys, but they're my age. They're New Yorkers. They're born and bred the right to gamble and do what they want. Even though they're broke, they're actually broke. Doesn't matter. They're going to find money to gamble. I try to show them the right way. What shot does the general public have if my own friends can't handle it?
Bill Krakenberger, as we wrap it up. So people get tempted into watching a game. They see a 13 seed getting 24.5 points. Do you bet the first half? Do you bet that, for them to lose and cover? What are the most enticing bets because of the enormity of some of these spreads that are enormous with teams that no one's seen?
Very good, very good. A lot of these teams, and you said it right, a lot of these teams, they will come out so pumped up because they know they're not going to the pros. They're on these, 15th seed, and they're not going to go out. This is their chance to literally shine. But what they want to do is come out there with all their might, and everything they have. They're on national TV, first time ever, maybe the last time ever. The first half is the way to go on a lot of these big dog teams. Like I just bet Nebraska Omaha plus 11.5. And by the way, there's just no one up. Here we are, Tuesday afternoon. Games are in 48 hours, less than 48 hours. There's only 4 places in the whole world that have first half stuff. I don't get it. This big bad town I live in, one place has first half stuff. Caesars. I can't, and I'm not allowed to play there. By the way, and throw me out for wedding. So it's amazing. But yes, like Nebraska Omaha, these kids, they're never going to see the NBA. These kids, however, they might come out really strong. And you know what happens? The big teams, the Dukes of the world, the big Floridas of the world, they may even Tennessee, they may actually overlook this game, thinking it's going to be a toss-up. Literally a layup for them, an easy game. They may give them the first half, so the coach starts screaming at them at halftime, "Hey guys, what'd you guys fall asleep? What happened here?" And because they didn't take it as serious enough. So I don't do it blindly, but if you follow me, I'm going to talk about some of this stuff on Twitter also when first half lines come up. But I'm giving your guys one plus 11.5. I'm betting them first half, and first half is the way to go on a lot of these teams that aren't going to make it because the class shows, the pure talent shows by the second half, and and it's the same thing for the Final Four. Don't be wasting your money on 100-to-1 shots. They don't win unless you're planning to hedge something. They don't win. Talent always seems to get there in the Final Four, or the final game especially. So there's some advice for your guys.
Last one, Crack. I find this amazing because there's so many charlatans and people that don't know sports that are selling picks and trying to get people to buy their picks. And I get it if their background is football, college and NFL football, I get it. But when they don't have any knowledge in college basketball, it doesn't take a genius to realize that those people who are selling bets aren't going to make any income if it's not NFL and college football season. So in order to generate income and pay their mortgage and rent, they got to give out college basketball picks, and they don't know crap about the sport. How do they even look themselves in the mirror, stepping up there and go, look at my 3-teamer, look at my 5-teamer, buy my picks when they don't cover the sport?
How about if they don't even bet the sport? That bothers me even more. But not covering the sport, of course, it's kind of the same thing. It draws a parallel. I see that. I see that out there in the space, especially on like the Instagram and TikTok feeds, which have every kid on there selling games, and because they show their fancy car and they show their fancy lifestyle, maybe a fancy bra on their shoulder. Come on, give me a break. I mean, if the people out there that are buying picks off someone that haven't been around, do not know the game, do not know the business, and are flashing things, well, listen, sometimes you get what you pay for, you get what you deserve. That's all I could say. I don't want to down anyone for doing anything, but I mean, it really is. It's so bad out there right now. It makes it harder for guys like me to talk serious about stuff because they've already been burned by so many of these snake oil salesmen.
Alcohol gets involved with bad betting, doesn't it? Correctly, if you get invited to a big casino party and they're pumping booze into you and a buffet and the booze is unlimited, it's tough to make money when you're hammered gambling. Correct?
Oh God, it's always, no matter what I tell them or anyone tells them, if they're drinking and they're chasing, the late game is going all in. They're going all in on the late game, trying to chase their losses, and it's the number one thing casinos want you to do. Oh, let me just get even. I won't gamble no more today. That's the number one thing. It's the reason why it's called Gambler's Ruin, RUIN. It's the reason why these big corporations are built and the reason why these big companies are built. You say alcohol, I'm about to have one of the biggest whales that ever hit this city that lost hundreds, that's right, ready? Hundreds of millions. He just wrote his own book. He's coming on with me. Hundreds of millions gambling here, all under the alcohol guy. He was all under being fed bottles of vodka, and I've talked to him, and he's ready to talk. So we're going to talk about that. And he's probably the biggest loser this town has ever seen. In a matter of 2 years, he lost $204 million documented here.
Crack wins. Bill Krackomberger, America's favorite sports gambler. Good luck with the tournament, Bill. See you out there soon.
Thank you, JT.
Bill Krackomberger, fantastic interview. Unbelievable. On the do's and don'ts and how to gamble and what to do. The alcohol part of it is a real big part of March Madness. Yes, I know a lot of people Super Bowl because it's Sunday. It's Sunday. They're not getting hammered. Like they got hammered on Friday, Saturday night, and went out. And Sunday, they're kind of coming out of it. They watch the game. You might have your Super Bowl bet in 4 days before. But when it comes to college hoops, you're betting on the fly. And when you're losing 2 or 3 games and you want to catch up with the night games and you've been drinking all day and you've been partying all day and then you come in and go, I like that game. You don't like that game. You don't know that game. You just want to catch up. So sometimes it sounds like when I interview people on the sports gambling front that I'm negative about it. No, I'm not. I have a lot of sports gamblers who are friends. We're just trying to help you. We're hoping you get one thing out of that interview and you say, ooh, I'll do that instead of this. Today, I'm going on VSiN with Paulie Howard. He invited me to come on today to talk about, my history in Vegas with the tournament because I've hosted these Calcutta events. I've hosted a lot of events here for March Madness, and I like it. I embrace it. I go right into it. It's a storm. When a rainstorm or a snowstorm's coming at you, you can run and turn. I go right to this. This is March Madness. You got to embrace it there. Who do you like? I have my picks, my entire bracket coming up next hour. I'll do it fast. But maybe there's a game or two that I can venture on that I like. Put some work into this. I got up today at 6:20 to see the stock market opening, rip my face off again today. But if you don't sell, you don't lose. Been hearing that for about 60 days now. As long as you don't sell, you're not losing. Please don't educate me. I was a stockbroker. I know how this works. Okay, I know how the market goes up and down. I don't need a comment in the comments. But I was up early, 6:30, watching the market bleed. So I just opened up my laptop and I just worked 3 hours on my bracket and other things that will add to the show. I'm on Sirius XM tonight here, and I think it's going to be fun. There's some NBA action to talk about. But if you're looking for a winner, who do you got winning the tournament? I'd like your Final Four, and I'd like your biggest upset. If you have a massive upset early in the tournament, a 5-12, a 13 seed winning, something like that, let us know. I'd like to help out our audience here. And if you'd like to get into our bracket challenge, where we're going to give away some cool stuff from our partners here and putting it all into a box. John Gruden's getting those boxes now on Barstool. I'm going to put together a big box of cool stuff that I've had for a long time, which is pretty rare for the audience here. We're going to get it to you. But you got to be in our bracket contest on YouTube. JT the Brick YT is subscribe. It's free. The bracket contest is free. And I'd like to look at your bracket. I will actually look at it, and we'll see what happens here. Hey, Grimaldi's is hands down my favorite pizza in Vegas. Only at Grimaldi's can you get their famous New York-style coal-fired brick oven pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley. Or check them out online at grimaldispizzeria.com. All right, phone lines are open today on the Raiders. Ashton Genty is the topic today. Raider Nation, you want to grab a running back? Or do you want to wait? That went fast. 30 minutes down, 90 minutes to go. 30 down, 90 to go.
One call, Stoner Dude.
Stoner Dude's on hold. One of my good buddies. Hammer the like button, please.
The morning tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m.
When you are injured, knowing that someone has your back changes everything. Our family has spent over 3 decades fighting and pursuing justice for the injured.
Just got invited to Emmett Smith's 1-year restaurant anniversary. That was nice of him to think of me. Emmett, that's kind of cool.
We founded this firm for you. We're the Castleberry Brothers. and we have your back.
Brotherswin.com.
This is Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM, the home of Raider Nation.
This is JT from Raising Cane's, the official chicken fingers of the Vegas Golden Knights, serving hot, fresh, cooked-to-order chicken fingers. And how about the Raising Cane's crinkle cut? Grab Genty without delay. Big D wants Genty.
In the regular season, as dominant a run as this league has ever seen.
Well, what happens with Genty is if you don't take him at number 6, he's gone. He's gone. So you don't get him, and he goes somewhere else.
All right. We're going to play Duke's final call coming back.
Thor, Raider Nation Drinking Club, man. We got to get ready for the cruise. Get to that cigar lounge on the Norwegian Bliss. Gonna head down to La Casa Cigars, get a couple 4-packs from my buddy Mike, and kick back.
You guessed all the right Chevy clues. Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice.
Yeah, 1982, the Vikings took Nelson and the Falcons took Riggs ahead of Marcus Allen. Woo!
It's amazing. I don't have any cravings. You want to quit, but have found it impossible. This is the thing for me. I have absolutely no.
You see, Tracy Morgan threw up at the Knicks game last night on the court. That was pretty interesting.
Nice.
Because I was watching the game and they said a fan threw up on the court and they were delaying the game.
Yeah.
So they didn't say who it was. They weren't allowed to show the vomit
Right.
or the fan. So I said it's probably a young kid who got drunk on St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
You know, 5 minutes later, they say it's Tracy Morgan, and he was in bad shape.
Well, I hope the hell he was sick and not drunk.
He said he had food poisoning. Kind of tough to be the only person in front of 18,000 people that claims he has food poisoning, but I hope he's okay.
Smoking seminar at 2 p.m. Registration is 30 minutes before each seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
I watched a little of that game, but it was like the Knicks were up by like 20, beating the hell out of the team. I couldn't watch it. Right to stay up and watch that Dodger game. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Then on Saturday the 29th, you'll be able to gear up with the Aviators Scarf Giveaway Night. And on Sunday the 30th, it's a noon start and kids can run the bases post-game. You gotta love Aviators Baseball. There's easy access, free parking, great food, and good times. Life's just better at Las Vegas Ballpark.
You know, a lot of lawyers who advertise you don't even live here. If they say Nevada, they're not far.
See the breaking news on a Cleveland Browns domed stadium, Adam Schefter's reporting.
I'm Richard Harris, and I am from Nevada. I grew up here. I went to school here. I raised my family here.
Winter cities like New England and Boston, man, you need domes. I know the Patriots like playing outside, Bobby. It's part of what they are, but
Same thing with the Bills.
you can't have concerts, man. You can't have concerts outside in December,
Oh,
man.
hell no, of course not. But it's also it's the same thing as Buffalo. You know, in
Yeah.
a way, it's kind of an advantage.
Yeah.
Did you see the Meadowlands with the dome?
I don't know, Thor. I'll let you know. Friday night might be tough because we're leaving Saturday. I might do Thursday.
Welcome back to the JT the Bridge Show.
Duke's final call.
Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit Tito'sVodka.com.
They won 19 games in the regular season. As dominant a run as this league has ever seen. And they punctuate it with a 23rd ACC title. They knock off Louisville 73-62, the final score. Gritty, tough, they get it done. The ultimate team, and they are the ACC champs.
Yeah, Duke wins. They have Cooper Flagg, who injured his ankle, but he'll be ready to go. So Johnny Broome of Auburn and Cooper Flagg of Duke have something in common. The forwards were unanimous first-team picks for the Associated Press men's college basketball All-American team. Alabama star Mark Sears, Purdue Brandon Smith, and Walter Clayton Jr. of Florida. I'm leaning to picking Florida to win it all. My pick coming up next hour. If you're joining us late, I'll be live at the Strat tomorrow from noon to 2, right there in the William Hill Sportsbook. Come on down. It's a good place to look at March Madness, place your bets. And as I tell everybody, if you haven't been to the Strat, in a while. You won't believe what they've done. That lobby is gorgeous. They put a lot into it. You go to the restaurant at the top of the world, and they have a great March Madness event brewing over there. So please come on by. For Raider fans today, the topic I'm throwing to you, giving you the bone of something to talk about, because today I could talk 2 hours March Madness, is that Ashton Genty is at number 6 in Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft. He's pretty good. Jeremiah's top 1 or 2 in that whole space. You could say Mel Kiper Jr. if you like more entertainment, whoever you got, whoever your favorite mock draft guy is. But I think Jeremiah is the best. And Ashton Genty going at number 6 makes sense for one reason. If the Raiders don't take him at 6, he's gone. He's gone.
Oh, yeah.
He's going somewhere else in the top 10. So for those who say, I don't want to get a wide receiver at 6 or a running back at 6, it's too early. What are you talking about? They're picking 6. That's where they're picking. They got to take the biggest player, the best need player there. The biggest need, I think, is running back more than wide receiver. Last I looked, we have a pretty good player in Jacoby Myers, and Brock Bowers puts up wide receiver numbers. Of course, we need a number 1, like T. McMillan of Arizona, but what's the priority? I thought that we had a pretty good running back in Zamir White. I thought Zamir White could have been the answer. I was wrong. It won't be the last time I'm wrong. I was wrong on that one. And to get a guy like Genty, if you take him, he's got to be a star in this league. Because if not, you can get a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round who won't be a star, but will be pretty good. Genty's got to be a home run if you're going to take him at 6. What do you think about that today in the latest mock draft? 702-365-9200. Our good friend Stoner Dude checking in as always. How are you?
I'm right, JT. You know, you're right. It is an easy one. It's a softball, but you know what? This is what I've been talking about now all week, is preparing, get ready for the draft. You know, at first, Geno Smith, it wasn't the big splash Raider fans wanted. It wasn't the one I wanted. You know, I wanted Aaron Rodgers, some of the other dudes. But at the end of the day, you know, Pete Carroll's the head coach, and it just makes perfect sense. He is the best viable option, in my opinion, financially, and he's the perfect bridge we were looking for. And the fact that he had success in the past with Pete Carroll and that he's been doing good this past few years, again, it just makes sense. And I like the move. As far as Ashton Genty goes, JT, they're at number 6. We need a running back, straight up. I mean, yeah, we're going out and getting guys, but, you know, Pete Carroll in the past, when he had his success, he had Reggie Bush with USC. He had Marshawn Lynch. I mean, he likes to run the ball, and we want to see that. And it's been done by committee, too, but by great running backs. We got to go out and get that guy. I think he's the choice. Because, you know, JT, I wanted Jackson Dart. I still want Jackson Dart. But, you know, you said this a couple times on your show that he's probably not going to last the first round. I'm looking down the list, man. I don't see a bunch of teams going after Jackson Dart as their main pick. Maybe the Colts, and maybe they got too many needs. I really think he's going to make it to that 2nd round. So if I come out of that draft and I got one of the best running backs in the draft and one of the best tight ends in the league, a new head coach and all these players signing or defense building up, and then you go get Jackson Dart in the 2nd round, I think I'm very optimistic looking into the future, JT. To end this call, man, I just want to let you know tomorrow night, JT, Wednesday the 19th at the Fremont Country Club here in Las Vegas, my original band Bong is opening up for the legendary Kings X, one of my favorite bands of all time. Anybody in town, come check it out. Let me know if you want to go to the show. That's it for me, JT. Thanks for the call. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, appreciate you, buddy. Have a great show. I do not believe that Dart will be available in the 2nd round. I think the Steelers could take him in the 1st round, or other teams can trade up into the 1st round and get him. So I don't think Dart is there. If he is there in the 2nd round, would you take Jackson Dart? Then you'd have Geno, and you'd have a quarterback controversy before Geno plays a game. You would. Geno would be the starter. Dart would be the backup. Geno throws 2 picks in week 9. Raider Nation wants Dart in the game. That's it. I've been there before. Do you want a quarterback controversy? You have Geno Smith. Forget about a quarterback maybe for a year, and they could draft a quarterback at number 6. But there are many people that believe if you got Geno locked up and you extend him, let Geno play for a year in Vegas to see if he can play, if he's very good. Then you get a quarterback for 2 or 3 years. If Geno plays for a year and he's not as good as you expect, you go get a quarterback. Go get Arch Manning. I like Arch Manning better than all these quarterbacks, actually. Top NFL running backs projected in the draft. Ashton Genty, number 1. Travion Henderson of Ohio State. Here's what it says about him. 5'10", 208 pounds, physical, has all the traits to regularly contribute to the next level. Great vision as a runner. Big-time playmaker, as evidenced in his 4.43 40-yard dash at the scouting combine and his 75-yard catch for a touchdown against Texas in the college football playoff. Well, that play was drawn up by Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's the offensive coordinator of the Raiders. Travion Henderson could be available, but I think he goes in the first round. Cam Skattebo at ASU, and my son goes to school. He was fantastic. He was unbelievable. In that quarterfinal loss to Texas, he was named the game's offensive MVP. He had 143 rushing yards, 99 receiving yards, and a 42-yard touchdown pass. And they lost the game. The guy's really tough. But do you want to go down that road with him? I don't think he'll go in the first round. And then the other Ohio State running back, the junior eligible, Quinshon Judkins, he's had an incredible last season. He competed with his teammate, Travion Henderson, extremely well. And he had a good year. 1,060 yards to Henderson's 1,016. They had a two-headed monster at running back. Maybe Chip Kelly wants an Ohio State running back. That could be his big deal to Pete. Hey, let me get one of the guys in here that know my system. And then you got DJ Giddens from Kansas State, who's very good. R.J. Harvey, I like him. He's a senior out of UCF, where my niece goes. He had a big year. And then Omion Hampton of North Carolina, the junior, he's really good. So I got 7 to 8 backs. Don't forget Trevor Etienne out of Georgia. He follows his brother Travis Etienne. So you got eight running backs that could go in the first 3 or 4 rounds. Don't tell me that you want to get a running back in the 6th round or the 5th round. Give me a break. Stop it. You're not serious. If you're serious about taking a running back, you take Ashton Genty at 6 if you're serious. If you're not serious about taking a running back, I'm cool. Go take one later that you think can make the team. I'm looking for guys who are going to start and maybe go to the Pro Bowl. Yeah. That's what's going to turn the Raiders around. Here's Nash. Is that in Henderson?
Houston.
Oh, Houston. Nash in Houston. Sorry, Nash. Go ahead.
Hey, I'd rather live in Henderson. It's a little bit prettier than Houston. But, hey, I can't agree more with what you're saying. To me, the interesting thing, though, again, it comes down to, best available versus need. I mean, and you can make the case that Genty's a little bit of both. But, again, to me, it's like how you got your board. And to me, the thing is, I always think about Jacobs last year. It's not like he learned how to run when he went to Green Bay. Green Bay had a better offensive line. So I think, again, or even Barkley, when he was with the Giants.
Right.
He looked a lot better in Philadelphia. But, oh, by the way, they got a better offensive line. So, to me, the question is, do we need a little bit more? And you're always talking about that right tackle. And again, I'm not a scout, but that kid out of Missouri, Mumbo or whatever his name is, looks like a guy that could play potentially right guard. If Glaze beats him out, he moves into a guard spot. Because in my mind, the biggest thing, Dylan Parker's a great player, but at 285 pounds, it's hard to move a 340-pound defensive tackle to get you 2 yards on 3rd and 1. And that's what we need. We need a guy that can open up those holes for Genty, that can open up the holes for anybody else that's going to be in the backfield. And so to me, I almost lean to the way we always talked about the Patriot way. This may be the Tampa Bay Buccaneer way. I mean, because what Spytek's doing, what they did there, picking and choosing, free agents, but not a lot of big signings at all. But then you get the guy in your house if you like him, a la Mayfield. Then you sign him after he's been there on a 1-year deal. Then you give him the big money. And it's the same thing that they're doing this year. If Stokes, is a stud, can stay healthy, then you're going to sign him for a long-term deal. He's a young guy. So to me, I would lean away from him. And one other point is I don't see McMillan as a Pro Bowler. I wish he would have been a little bit faster. I just don't see him as that. If I had to take a wide receiver, I'd probably take the kid out of Texas Golden because you can't teach speed. And then just the question for you, JT, to finish up is kind of to say in his prime. I mean, I think Geno's going to be a great fit for Kelly's system. But would you rather have Geno or Derek Carr? In other words, I think that Geno can be a Derek Carr of 2016.
Yeah.
I think he completes 70% of his passes, get us 25 first downs with his feet, and be a really solid guy that can be competitive
Okay.
all the games we play, because that's the last thing. Is last year, if you just like quarterback versus quarterback, most of the time we didn't win that battle just before the game.
Okay.
Now we're going to be competitive, so I'm excited about that.
All right. First off, I like Geno over Derek Carr now, but you made a good point. 2016 Derek Carr was as good as anything Geno's ever done. That Geno hasn't done what 2016 Carr's done. The Carr was unbelievable in that year. Then he broke his leg, broke his ankle. He was never the same. He was never the same after that. Derek lost a little bit from there. Still a very good player in this league. But you want to get an offensive lineman before Ashton Genty. Okay, you better get the right guy. You better make sure the guy's a starter. Because around here, we seem to draft offensive linemen and develop them. And I don't think Pete Carroll wants to develop a lot of players here. I think he wants players who can win now. Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU, is just insane. So if you look at his ability and what he can do, yeah, that's one player. Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas is great. And Josh Simmons, who played at Ohio State. I'm going to be bringing up a lot of Ohio State offensive weapons because Chip Kelly coached there. All right, we'll reset what's coming up in the second hour. Remember, tomorrow I'm at the Strat from noon to 2 if you'd like to come down for lunch. Great food specials, a lot of vibe at the Strat tomorrow as we kick off college basketball.
It's the morning tailgate.
I got an interesting text from somebody who's been watching from afar the Raiders. He goes, it'll be interesting to see how.
All right, I'm going to take this up here for
out
probably
because
another
you look at
20
Jared
minutes,
McShane,
15 minutes,
that's
because I'm
way
kind of
more
light today.
Traditionally and historically, than a Patrick Graham guy. So they run two different systems is the point. Which direction is it going to go? And they're both really headstrong people. It's just something to monitor.
The morning tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m.
Great
Just
cities
a quiet
are built
day,
on
man.
strong foundations. The skilled members of Laborers Local 872 never stop building. From the asphalt on our roads,
Warriors got blown out last night, and the Warriors didn't have to go up against Jokic or Murray. So Denver was doing some load management, and the Warriors couldn't handle Denver with their load management. What's up with the Dubs?
The future is Union Strong.
For over 20 years, the experts at LendingStore.com have provided consumers with quick access to lenders, and all credit types are welcome. Now, cash is as close as your phone and as soon as tomorrow. When you need cash, you need it now. So why wait? Got bills today? Get cash tomorrow. Visit LendingStore.com.
Has the Kennedy files been released today? I was waiting all day. Everyone lying that the Kennedy files have something in it. Oh, I hope they do, man, because I read the Warren Commission, Bobby. I read that. I read the Warren Commission. I was that into it. I was born the day after Kennedy was assassinated, 2 years after that. I was born on November 23rd. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22nd. I bring that up because my entire life, on my birthday, which is either Thanksgiving or the day after the Kennedy assassination, I would sit at home and all I'd watch would be Kennedy documentaries and the anniversary of Kennedy being shot. So I know a lot about the Kennedy assassination, and they're running for office saying, when we get in, we're going to give you everything on that. They're full of crap. It's been what, 70 days now we've gotten squat. Let's see something now. All right, if you got anything, let's see it. Incredible, man. We got the Epstein files. We got this. No, you don't. No, where is it? Where is it? Dubs looked tired last night. Yeah, Steve Kerr pretty much said that he was gassed. What sound do we got here, Bobby?
Playing St. John's final call coming back.
Okay. Oh.
So I got the Hayward cut from recruiting Rogers.
I might lead with that at the top of the hour on Aaron Rodgers, not
sorry. I got the three for West Virginia's governor and we had USC women's coach.
Okay.
It's all right.
At pgnmv.com to receive a free cost savings analysis now. That's pgnmv.com or call our Las Vegas office at 702-700-4380.
Free agency. Best available. Stephon Diggs.
That works for you.
Chicago Brewing Company. Hey, it's Mark.
T-Mobile Arena. Enjoy beers from their award-winning microbrewery, plus all the delicious menu items like wings, pizzas, and sandwiches. Your sports headquarters is Chicago Brewing Company on West Sahara and Fort Apache. The 97.1 The Point, Classic Rock for Vegas. Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the valley. With 23 bays over 12,000 square feet, Zip Zap is your one-stop shop, offering 24-hour smog test, oil changes, detailing, bodywork, engine, and transmission rebuilding. And Zip Zap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary, 24-hour service. Zip Zap Auto at Cheyenne and North Durango Drive, and online at zipzapauto.com.
Hey everyone, it's Joey from Sky Diamonds in Town Square. We want your business. Look up our reviews. We love our customers and they love us. Rolex, natural diamonds, lab diamonds, sapphires, rubies, everything you can want in one store. We won't be beat on price or customer satisfaction.
Welcome back to the Jackson Brick Show. Brought to you by Local 872, your workforce solution.
So St. John's won the outright regular season title. They're the Big East tournament winner. You know who your Big East champions are? St. John's defeats Creighton 82-66 in the title game.
Johnny's radio. How far do you got St. John's going, Rick Pitino? I got them going pretty far. They're a good team. JT, back with you. Good to have everybody here today, as we are brought to you by the 872 Laborers Union, led by Tommy White. They built the city on time and on budget, including Allegiant Stadium, proud partner of our show. So NFL.com has their site, the best available free agents left. So free agency's been picked over, just like a buffet on the Vegas Strip. Okay, remember, someone told me a long time ago, you never want to eat anything out of a buffet tray if the tongs are in the tray. Always remember that. My buddy Dave told me that. If the germs of someone's hand is in the food, you do not pay and go to that buffet. You have to have them now serve you your food at the buffet, or the tongs have to be on the outside of the food, not in the food where people dump it. Just remember that. You'll thank me the rest of your life for that. So this has been picked over. It's like a buffet that's been picked over. The best available, according to Greg Rosenthal, who's pretty good at this, is Amari Cooper. Wide receiver, 31 years old. He's been really good. He's a former Raider. His attitude I never loved. I never loved his body language. I'm a body language guy. Amari never seemed to be happy when he played for the Raiders or anywhere else. He just always seemed to be down. But good player. He'd be really good. The next available great free agent is Aaron Rodgers at 25. They have him ranked 25th overall. He's 41. Reports are that the Vikings are interested in him. Really, this late? Why aren't the Vikings interested in keeping Sam Darnold? Why do they want Aaron Rodgers? I don't get that one. I'm going to dive into that next hour a little bit more. And then the 28th best free agent who's still available, there's only 3 ahead of him, is Stephon Diggs. 31 years old, the wide receiver, transitioning to probably a number 2 receiver, not number 1, but a guy who can put up big numbers and run routes. He tore his ACL with the Texans, and if he stays there with the Texans, he's a good player. He reportedly was working out with Geno Smith. So follow me for a second here. If you ended up getting that player, Stephon Diggs, and you broke the huddle week 1, hopefully it's Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, it's Geno, Brock, Ashton Genty, Stephon Diggs, Jacoby Myers. Anybody have a problem with that? Anybody have a problem with that? We're breaking the huddle with Geno, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, and Stephon Diggs. You tell me, what's the problem there? I think that's a pretty good group running routes and maybe handing the ball off to a single coverage back who's in an empty backfield by himself. Now you would say the offensive line. What do you do with the offensive line? I think I'm up to speed that they're going offensive line pretty early in this draft. Not the first round. They're going to get out of there with the starting offensive lineman, similar to Jackson Powers Johnson. That type of player. A player that you know that can play. All right, hour number 2 is coming up next. I'm going to dive into the disappearing act of Aaron Rodgers. On top of that, I'm going to dive into my mock draft. It's coming, but I have my picks for the tournament. My bracket is done. I'll tell you about that coming up next. If you want to get in, you can do it now. I can get you up pretty quick, 702-365-9200. Thanks to the bricklayers who follow us exclusively on YouTube.
It's March, so how about men's college basketball?
All right, tomorrow I'll be live from the Strat, so we'll have a little sportsbook vibe to us tomorrow. We'll do that there. Again, got kind of a small number today. It's kind of a dead day. I knew it was a dead day for football, and I'm trying to get this March Madness going. If you'd like to listen, you know where to follow me on the feed, and I'll be back tomorrow from the Strat. Oh, I'm on tonight. Get the feed working tonight. 7 o'clock tonight, I'll do a mini monologue.
It's why you play the game.
Boyd Gaming